The Deagle Double G.
Joining the journey starting tonight at 8 p.m. The Road to G4ia, Volume 1, presented by EB Games and Jeep.
Stay tuned. The Screensavers, next.
Tonight on the Screensavers, find out how you can win up to $1 million modding your favorite game. Plus, build a Wi-Fi signal booster with some common household supplies. And hack your Windows logon screen for something much sweeter. Live from the Tech TV studios in San Francisco, it's the Screensavers.
Good evening, welcome to the Screensavers. I'm Patrick Norton.
And I'm Kevin Rose. Thanks for joining us on TSS. It is Mod Week, and all week long we've been showing you some of the coolest hardware and software mods on the planet.
Amazing stuff, and we have more cool stuff tonight. We got the Death Ball team, winners of the Unreal Tournament 2003 modding contest, and I'm going to show you how to make a Wi-Fi antenna for, let's call it 4 cents?
4 cents.
4 cents.
It's pretty cheap, but it works.
10 dB, 4 cents.
It's a little jank, it's a little ghetto, but it works.
It's a lot ghetto, but it's, you know what, it works. You're going to love it. Especially if you just bought like a $50 antenna.
Speaking of the opposite of ghetto, my lovely and talented Sarah Lane.
That's good, that's good. I am the opposite of ghetto.
You're like Grace
And
Kelly.
jank. I'm obviously the opposite of jank.
You're not jank
too.
whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't even know what jank is, but it doesn't sound good.
We really shouldn't define it on this show.
Yeah, let's not. Actually, today is a fun day because if you use XP, then you probably have a login screen, and it's blue and it's boring and it looks like Microsoft, and I'm going to change it today. It's very fun, very easy, simple, good times. Stay with me.
This is cool. She's got a sweet replacement. I'm not going to say what it is, but...
Don't
Is this
say what it
the
is.
thing of you on the beach?
No, not that one. That's for home.
That's not for public consumption.
I thought that was
right.
going up on eBay.
Today is Thursday. That means it's time for the Screensavers LAN party.
Powered by NVIDIA.
Today we are playing Unreal Tournament 2004. We got the Screensavers team and special guests from the Death Ball team are playing. Jordan Walker, who is a character model, is there. Character model. He's a character modeler.
Here was the model for the character.
model. Robert Sitton is a character programmer, and Aaron Staley is a gameplay programmer. And of course we have Dan. There it is. You heard. He has our Rackspace servers fired up and ready to go. I'll let you guys get back to the game. It looks like a lot
I
of
don't
fun.
even think they noticed. They're like,
I know. They got the little headgear on and going at it.
Once we put the headsets on everybody, we just lost them.
Lost them. I wish I could be in there playing.
Well, you know.
At the break, I'm going in.
That's a good
Gotta
plan.
frag up some people.
Time for the news. Sarah,
Tech
what's
news.
the
Yeah,
first story
boop, there
today?
it is. Does anyone even remember that song?
Yeah.
Okay. I loved that. I had the single on cassette tape. I've admitted it.
Overshare.
More vulnerabilities for Symantec firewall products. Symantec Corp posted a security advisory on its website for 4 vulnerabilities within many of its popular firewall products that affect both consumers and business products. Users of Norton Internet Security, Norton Anti-Spam, Norton Personal Firewall, Symantec Client Firewall, and Symantec Client Security are at risk. That's you. Get on it. 3 of the security holes could allow an attacker to insert and execute code of his or her choice on the machine.
That's the new box design. That's awesome.
With the big giant holes in it?
Yeah, with the big giant holes in the software.
Truth in advertising.
But
You know, I'm trying to find the T-shirt that said, like, even Norton can't protect you
Oh,
now.
that's on
the hacker
jinx.com,
T-shirt.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, it's desperately funny just because, you know what, there's a lot of stuff that no firewall or no
Here's the thing, though.
antivirus can stop.
Over the last couple months, we've talked about all these different companies. Cisco had some huge holes that were patched here not too long ago. Now Norton's coming out with holes. I'm sure, any piece of software, whether it be antivirus, whether it be firewall, is going to have holes. I mean, this is just programmers make errors and holes happen. Yeah. That being said, the only way to really protect yourself, put yourself inside of a Faraday cage and unplug yourself from the internet.
I was going to say, all I got to do is unplug this.
Well, there could be that, what was that where they read your monitor signals from the street?
Oh, you mean the whole, Van Eck freaking?
Van Eck freaking, yeah.
Works for like 3 guys inside the NSA research labs and no one in real life.
Did they say anything about that when you were down at the NSA?
You know, they didn't really want to get into the whole...
I bet they didn't.
Counterintelligence thing.
Being all top secret and whatnot, they probably didn't want to tell you.
Hey, I had a DEF CON T-shirt on.
Did they like that?
That's the best part. They were laughing pretty hard.
Nice.
But yeah.
We're talking about something completely different than what was the news.
Anyhow, we tell you to run free products because they're just as good. So if you got any of the Norton products, go
Run the update.
Yeah, critical to run the update. Critical holes. Big, giant, fluffy holes.
Every day, another hole is discovered. Next story.
All right, well, we have some youngins in the LAN party today, but according to a study released at E3 by the Entertainment Software Association, the average gamer is not a teenager who chose Far Cry over the prom, but rather a bit closer to being over the hill. The average age of game players is 29, whereas the average age of game buyers is 36.
The average game player?
Knew?
No way. It's
That
29.
is out of control.
The kids that are kicking my butt in the games are 15 and 12. There's no 29-year-olds in there when I'm playing.
Maybe that's just the places you hang out to play the
Yeah,
games.
maybe that's the problem.
You know what? I've got cousins and uncles that started buying their first game, in the late 70s, early 80s. My uncle's still buying stuff. He's in his 50s.
But you think the majority of people playing games are in their mid-20s?
How many people do you know are like,
Yeah, man, I finished out the whole estimation on the Alberson account, and I spent 9 hours playing like Rogue Spear, the Clancy game.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of people that are basically sitting at home and
Spear.
whatever the name it is. The one where you basically spend 9 hours like creeping up on a bad guy.
Or Evercrack or any of those other ones.
Exactly. I know people who are in the...
Yeah, Evercrack's a prime example. Those are older people.
There's younger people too, but it's... Love that voice. You know what? People, it's funny. The funny thing I heard was like this Electronic Arts, their director of communications was sitting in front of these people. They sell technology for a living. They're all marketing communications professionals. He's like, look, it's a $14 billion a year industry. 50% of our customers are female. And
50% is what they
I think it was like 46 or 49.
That's still
somewhere around
crazy. I would never have guessed
and
that.
This report actually said something similar. A lot of female gamers. And 3, guess what? The average buyer is like 32 years old. It is this group of people that do nothing but sell technology. It's like,
that
really?
makes sense, though, because the adults are the ones that have the money. Kids aren't going out. Parents are going out and
But the
buying the
average
games for the
playing
kids.
age is still 29.
But do you play all these games? That's what I really want to know.
I'm all about
You don't
this.
have a console.
It's all about snoods. It's all about snoods for me.
Snoods?
Actually,
I've never even seen Snoods. That's a game.
We'll show snoods
I
in the
think you have to show me that
G-Block. It's
one time.
evil. It's a horrible game. It'll suck your brain out of your skull. No, actually, the last one, a lot of Halo at home.
Yeah, Halo's fun.
Because I got to be careful because I'll sit down, I'll play for 3 days straight.
Well, you got the fiance, and she's probably cracking the whip right about now.
No, it was the first time I showed up like 2 hours late and said to Ken, I was like, yeah, I was playing, insert name of game here. And he's like, no, we don't do that.
Ken likes to crack down on us coming
We're
in
an
late.
adult now.
That's right.
Well,
poor
Ken's
Ken.
giving us the sad face.
Our serious producer likes to crack the whip when we come in late. You're the worst. You come in late more than anybody else.
Yes, I do. Because I also work between midnight and 4 more than anybody else.
That's true.
Thanks, Sarah.
You're welcome. Have a lovely show, gentlemen.
We will.
Okay.
Wendell joins us on the phone from Kingsland, Georgia.
Hey, Wendell.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. And yourself?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
A little hot here.
Yeah?
Been known to happen. How can we help you today?
Okay, well, I seem to be having some problems here with getting started with modding. And I was looking to see if you knew a site that maybe had screws, LEDs,
Okay.
project boxes, something to help out.
Have you been watching this week and seen some cool projects that you want to get started on?
I've done that, and I've also started my own.
Mm-hmm. What are you building?
Well, I have a mini ITX, and I'm building actually a floppy holder. I don't use
cool.
floppies anymore, so I'm using that box right now.
Nice.
But I'm running out of screws, or my bucket of screws, they're mismatched,
Okay. Well, in terms of like physical screws and hardware and stuff like that, in every town or in every county, there is a hardware store where everyone's either like 12 or 300 years old. There's dark, shady corners, and they've got one entire wall that's nothing but like 5, 6, 8 feet high of hardware, stainless, brass,
Right.
Machine screws, like stuff you'll never elevator screws. What's an elevator screw? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, an elevator screw is flat on one side, so it doesn't scrape the side of an elevator.
So you would think you would go
But
someplace like this for
well, the
screws
thing is,
for
it's like
computers?
you would think like I'm going to go to Home Depot. It's the big giant place, but they have little tiny plastic bags, and half the
Right.
stuff's missing. It's not right. Somewhere in your community, somewhere within a half-hour drive of your house, is the most amazing hardware ever. Your job to find it. So like
That's what Yoshi does. We were talking to Yoshi before the show, and we said, "Where do you go, Yoshi?" And he goes, "I always go down to the local shop to pick up my parts."
I mean, but for screws and nuts and bolts and stuff like that, you got to find a local hardware store because ordering that stuff over the web is a nightmare. You know what I mean? It's like there's a
Right.
True Value store. It's like half the reason I live in the Outer Sunset is there's a True Value store. The guy's nuts. He likes
Right.
to have every piece of like hardware
I've been there.
ever
I live in
known.
Sunset,
Yeah,
too.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're just like this is amazing. I could build whatever I need. You know, bizarre
Now,
stuff.
what about other things like neon and certain types of tools?
It
Is there
depends
any
what you're
online
looking for.
resources?
I mean, the other thing you do is, like, no matter where you are in North America, there's a Radio Shack somewhere near you. And Radio Shack, it's not like the most sophisticated stuff, but if you're looking for really simple project boxes and stuff like that, they have a rack in the back. They've got LEDs in there. So if you're looking for something just to get by, there's always something that, basically at a Radio Shack, you can always find one in there. If you want to get, like, really serious, there's places that there's websites, and we can try to dig up some websites for you, Wendell, that deal with nothing but modding supplies,
Here's what
like
we
the
should do.
Neon and stuff.
I know there's a lot of modders
That'd
out there
be
that
great.
watch the show.
Yeah.
Let's have them email Sarah at techtv.com, with your best modding links. We'll put them in our show notes,
Yeah.
and we'll give everybody a nice resource to come and get all their modding information if they want to buy anything.
Can I tell Wendell about one more before we go?
Go for it.
If you're looking for, like, switches and a lot of LEDs and stuff like that, digikey.com, digikey.com. They have everything. Resistors, integrated circuits, like
Nice.
any kind of electrical part you want, whether you're looking for a kill switch for a giant production machine, or little tiny roller switches and stuff, and everything in between. DigiKey has amazing stuff in stock. And they,
DigiKey.
DigiKey.
Yeah.
digikey.com.
Cool.
Okay, I'm going to give them a try. I want to keep what I'm building consistent, and I want it to look, halfway decent. And that's why I'm trying to get something where I can get everything in one group order or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll give you an answer with you. A lot of times you end up going to 3 or 4 places just because the place that's got, like, stainless steel sheet metal may not have, blue LEDs.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Right.
The trick is to kind of plan out your project in advance, do what Yoshi does, sketch it out, draw it out, make a parts list, it's, measure twice, cut once, and order everything in as early as possible. So good luck, Wendell. It's going to be an amazing project, I bet.
Thanks for the call.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
And, we'll put together the list.
Yeah,
Good idea.
got to get that list together.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are just getting started. We're going to check in with our LAN party to see who's winning. And after the break, we're going to tell you how a motley crew of programmers met to collaborate on the ultimate video game mod. It landed them a spot at E3 and a place in video game history. It's coming up right after the commercial.
I know you all like to play video games, but have you ever thought what it would be like to create a video game yourself? Or better yet, mod your favorite game and earn a chance to win $1 million? Well, our next guests are doing just that, and they're here to show you how you can do the same. Welcome Robert Sitton and Jordan Walker. You guys are members of the Death Ball team. That's winners of Phase 1 and Phase 2 of Unreal's Make Something Real modding contest.
Yes.
Tell me, what is that contest all about? How did you guys get started?
That's pretty much, we used the contest to gain publicity for the mod and everything, because obviously if you won the phase of the mod, people would download it more and they
Right.
would recognize it.
So you won the first phase.
Yes.
What kind of winnings, what did you take home from that?
$15,000 in prizes and cash.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then the second phase is what you're going into right now.
Right.
And if you win Phase 2, is that when you get the $1 million?
No.
No.
There's still another phase that you
Oh,
have
they
to
make you
win.
jump through hoops to get the $1 million.
Yeah.
So what do you guys? So the second phase, and then you said there's a third phase after that.
Right.
Okay. And then if you get past the third phase, that's when you get the $1 million.
Right.
Okay. Cool. So you guys are shooting for that, obviously.
Yes.
And you've created a game. What is the name of your mod?
It's Death Ball.
Death Ball. And what
Yeah.
does it do exactly?
It basically takes Unreal Tournament, which is a first-person shooter, and turns it into a sports game like soccer.
Oh,
It
nice.
still acts like Unreal Tournament in the fact that it has some gore, and you can play around, but it's pretty much the gist of the mod. It turns it into a sports game.
Oh, cool. So you have this first-person shooter that's normally all about guns, grenades, weapons, things like that, and you've created like an electronic arts-like type soccer game.
Yes, exactly.
That's awesome. So what does it take to get started in something like this? Do you guys have to be programmers? You got a team together? Can one person do this?
One person can, but normally it takes a team, someone doing content, someone doing code, someone doing design, and normally you work together over the internet and kind of meld it all together into a completed product.
Is this buddies that you've gotten together, like friends of yours, or are you guys kind of spread out?
We're all over the world, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's people in Germany, Denmark,
How do you collaborate? I mean, I'm sure you guys going back and forth with different builds and mods and add-ons.
Yeah, we have, there's some issues with that, but normally we use IRC, ICQ, email, anything that we can to communicate, and generally every day we talk about something, find bugs, and then we go out and fix them on our own. So it's good to have people that specialize in their different parts,
Right.
and work together as a team.
So you said there's a crew of about 10 people that put this together.
Right.
So what do you two specifically do for the mod?
Basically, I create the characters, all the art that's used for the player models and their attachments, and
I write the code to kind of display it and do the attachments, menus, things like that. All the game-related code or game-related menus all go through me, and I set it up for Jordan.
Cool. So can you guys give me a demo of exactly how you created the characters and also show me some of the code that you mod?
Sure.
Okay. Let's start off with the characters. You're in a 3D application right here. What program is this?
This is 3D Studio Max.
Okay.
Which Epic gives the community a skeleton to work with. That sets up the joints and such, so that you don't have to create your own animations. You can just make your own geometry, attach it to this skeleton, and bring it in the game.
Oh, that's got to be so easy then, because there's no animating whatsoever. You just skin the character, basically. Is that all you're doing in here?
Yeah, like you can create your own animations, but it makes it easy to go ahead and get something in there in the beginning.
Okay. So why the multiple heads here? What are we doing here?
This is part of the Death Ball thing. This isn't Unreal Tournament specific. See, with Death Ball, we brought in a customization menu where you can select your own face, you can select your own armor, hairstyle, etc. And these are just a couple of different faces that you can see here.
I see.
That people will be able to.
So you allow people to choose in the options menu, choose different heads, and this is what it's referencing is this file right here when it chooses a different head or different face.
Right.
Okay. And then from here, I mean, here's 3D Studio Max, which a lot of people understand and know and play with that are into 3D modeling.
Yeah.
What do you do at this point?
At this point, Epic gives you a plugin that's called ActorX, and it exports a PSK file that it creates from your geometry.
What's a PSK file?
A PSK file is a file that Epic's editor, Unreal Ed, can read and interpret.
Okay.
And so once you export that PSK, you just bring the file in and attach the animations, and it's ready to go.
Okay, so that PSK file is something that's proprietary, their own little file format that they give you.
Right.
And it's just a plugin for 3D Studio.
Yes.
Oh, sweet. So that makes it easy for you. Yeah. So that's not too hard. So a lot of people, anyone could do this that's into animation, right? As far as creating different characters.
Right. It makes modding extremely easy, and it's a good thing that Epic did do this.
Right. Now, what do you do from this point? So let's say you've already created the characters. Now, what if we want to start changing some of the gameplay? So let's say instead of the jump button and pressing jump, you want to jump 100 yards instead of just a foot.
Right.
Simple variable modification, or can you show me what you do?
Basically, Unreal Tournament ships with all the tools you need to start modding the game. So you start the Unreal Editor. And
so this is the Unreal Editor right here.
Right. So normally you would use this to do world editing, but you can also do code editing as well. And little known to everyone that Unreal Tournament ships with all the code, so you know exactly what to do, or you have a template to work from when you're developing code. So right here, I just opened up a class file that's inside of the editor.
Now that looks like a little bit of C++ a little bit.
It's C++, Java.
Oh, so it's like a hybrid language. It's their own hybrid language.
And it has some of their custom networking language in there as well. So right here, this is what the character would do if you were to drop a flag. And what you could do is go in right now and just start editing and putting in your own code to take over or modify or mod what they've done at Epic Games.
Now, is this something that, let's say, someone that has no idea about programming can go in and just tweak a couple of the little variables to get some really crazy effects? Or would they have to know a little bit about programming to do this?
More than likely, you'd need to know a little bit about C++ or Java. Either way, you could get in there and start doing a little code for the game. Most of the time, you'd have someone that's already a coder come in and do code and scripting for the game. So
now, at this point, once you've made the changes, is that when you recompile it and then build it back into the game? Does it actually compile the executable?
Yes, it takes all the content that your artists have developed and your code and melts it all together and makes a totally new game file for you to play.
Nice. Awesome. So if you win the $1 million, you guys splitting it up? You're going to start your own game company? What are we talking about here?
Go ahead.
Of course, it'll be split up between the team.
Right.
But also, part of the $1 million is the Unreal license. So we'll use the license to create a commercial version of Death Ball that people can buy and play without having to have Unreal Tournament.
Yeah, you can even make more money from that than you would winning the contest altogether. Right. If you win the $1 million, come back. We're going out and partying. We got to go out.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. I wish you guys the best of luck and hope you win the money. That's awesome. Now, if you think you can give Robert and Jordan a run for their money, check out the Screensavers website for details on how you can enter Unreal's modding contest. Now, still to come, Leo joins us. He's going to show us how to disable your cap locks key. That's going to be a lot of fun. And up next, Patrick's going to show you how to build a parabolic Wi-Fi signal booster that costs pennies to make. That's all when the Screensavers continues.
polite and wholesome audience today.
Yes, we do.
You're so nice. Folks, you want to boost the output from your wireless access point, but you don't want to spend the big bucks or don't want to need like a ridiculous antenna like this one. This is amazing if you want to like connect two buildings that are like 2 miles apart, or even a few hundred yards apart, right? You're talking like, I don't know if this is 18 or 24. This is 24. No, 19 dB gains. This is a pretty major antenna, right?
What are you talking about? $60 for something like that?
$60 for something like that. It's a pretty good deal actually for the what you get. We're looking around though. When we did the article about extending a antenna with a parabolic reflector like an old satellite dish, one of the things we stumbled across these guys at freeantennas.com. Freeantennas.com. They came up with some interesting ideas of, well, basically antennas you can make for next to nothing out of stuff you can find around your house or in a hardware store. That hardware store we were talking about in the A block where they have everything, you just got to find the right one.
Right.
Yeah. Auto repair guys can find those. But check this out. Here's your basic links to this box. What they've noticed is these are really, omnidirectional antennas. They basically broadcast in all directions simultaneously, and they're not the cleanest design.
Right.
They do their job. And what they've noticed, though, is you figure a lot of times this is sitting maybe in a corner of your house, and you don't particularly need to paint signal back across your neighbor's house. You don't need to signal, if you put it in the right place, you can basically orient it and maybe have one direction for the signal to go.
So what you're creating here, now what is the parabolic? I heard, what does that mean exactly?
What this actually, and we're kind of jumping ahead here, but what we have here, right, is a reflector. Now, a parabola is basically a curve that's designed and boy, there's going to be math majors that are probably laughing hysterically. The idea is to create a curve that points towards the center point, right? So if you ever take a look at the light bulb out of the front of a car, remember the old ones would be a big round glass thing and it'd be curved, or if the inside of a flashlight, that reflector back there, the bulb's at the center of it, it reflects light out in a particular direction.
So this is doing the same thing. It's focusing.
Yeah, essentially you're focusing a signal. Now, if you take a look back at home base, if we pull up the signal at home base, you'll actually see what's coming up on there, and that's pretty strong. We're in a fairly small room for this. It's much more dramatic, like if you go into my house where there's a pretty large wall, but it's running about 75 dB on there. It's a pretty arbitrary measurement because I don't have a pretty high-end car on there. And if you start attaching these reflectors on here, and it's they look kind of goofy, don't they, folks? Because they're made out of like oak tag and aluminum. But if we take a look back there, we should see a jump.
It's going up, isn't it?
We're actually considering it should go up some if I focus it correctly and get it in the right direction. We also have the jib camera in between us and there now, which can't be helping the signal that much. That's the big giant steel camera in the middle.
Right.
But what happens, right, is what we should end up is getting about a 10 dB boost. We cheated. We rearranged it, but that's good. Thank you. The thing is, though, we're actually noticing in pre-show about a 10 dB boost. They're claiming about a 12 dB boost, which is a pretty healthy boost. That might be enough to, it's enough to like clean up the back corner of my house where reception's really weak. It goes down to like 1 bar connectivity.
If you're sitting in the backyard and you have very low signal strength, but it still works and it drops out from time to time, this might be something to try.
Yeah, if it's in the middle of your house, this is not a good idea, right? Because basically what it's doing, it's taking all the signal that would normally go in this direction and focusing it out that way.
Gotcha.
So the signal is going that way and not back out the other way. What's interesting is what we noticed, if you have a really nice antenna setup, like yours actually has antenna wires, I guess, down both sides of the card.
Right.
Right? So yours actually is pretty, unaffected. This doesn't help yours much. It doesn't take much. In fact, I think we noticed it kind of dropped the signal much because I think yours probably picks up a lot of signal that's bounced. Right. Really easy to make. We printed out, so basically there's a couple sheets you can print out. One's for the reflector, and one's for the little centerpiece that you mounted on.
This is what you download, or it's the printout on that website.
Basically, we downloaded this, we printed it out on paper, we glued it onto actually some hardworking interns. Scott Michelle glued it onto there.
I was going to say, this is a good craft project for your kids at home.
It's pretty goofy, but it's fun. And then the last thing we did is not on this piece, but on the reflectors, we glued aluminum foil onto the back of it. You could use, mesh, wire, any kind of steel, copper, your mom's baking dish or baking pan. And what you do is you basically bend this over, and it gets inserted into basically it's like putting, it's the slot A into tab B kind of moment in there. And when you're done, it ends up taking the proper curve for the parabola.
It's just like building one of those Burger King hats, kind of.
Literally, it's the same exact. If you've built a Burger King hat, you can build one of these.
Okay, cool.
We use contact cement. You can use whatever kind of glue you have laying around to attach your aluminum foil and your paper together. Really cool. Before you go out and spend money on an antenna, try building one of these. You might be shocked.
I mean, this is going to cost you what? What's your total cost?
Yeah, I don't know.
20 cents?
I'm calling it the 10-cent Wi-Fi.
10 cents. There you go. That's
but awesome. It's a pretty cool project. Great site, freeantennas.com. You should definitely check it out if you like playing with Wi-Fi. Good stuff. And we got the patterns, links, and again, props to the folks at freeantennas.com. Very, very good stuff. Go to screensavers.com, get the links.
Nice. That's fun.
It is fun.
A little trashy, but it's fun.
Well, we do what we can.
Yes. Here's Sarah with a quick tip.
Or a little bit more of a quick info session. There's a lot of gossip and speculation going about the Comcast Tech TV G4 merger. What does it all mean? That's what happens when people don't have the right information. They gossip. If you want the real scoop on what's happening with your favorite Tech TV shows, go to the screensavers go to the show notes at thescreensavers.com. We have a link that should answer all of your questions, and if it doesn't, email us. We'll try to answer more. Now, don't go anywhere. We'll educate and enlighten you with another live call. And after the break, our LAN party is in full effect, peeps. We're going to check in with them when the screensavers continue.
I'm Kevin Rose.
And I'm Patrick Norton. Coming up in this half hour, Sarah is going to give your XP log-on screen a whole new look, and Danny's on the line shopping for a used laptop. He wants to know how much processor needs to run XP smoothly.
Nice.
Good stuff.
And today is Thursday. Let's check in with our LAN party. Sarah is filling in for Joshua.
That's right. Joshua is down at E3, so I'm administering our LAN party. No, Dan's actually doing it, but I'm standing here to, of course, the Screensavers LAN party powered by NVIDIA. The game is Unreal Tournament 2004. We've been playing the demo for a while. Now it's time for the full version. We have some special guests. You met a couple of them earlier. Robert Sitton, who's a character programmer for the project that may make you a millionaire.
Yep.
And Jordan Walker, character modeler. Hello, everybody. And Aaron Staley, gameplay programmer. We didn't meet you earlier, but yes, we will. And of course, we have Dan. There it is, Heward. He has our Rackspace servers fired up and ready to go. That felt kind of nerdy to do that.
It was.
Was it nerdy? It felt nerdy. And what I wanted to ask you guys, you talked a lot about how you made the mod, how it's all been put together. What I want to know is, what would you do with $1 million?
More than likely start a new game company and make a real...
That's not exciting. Start a game company. Be legit.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Next person, same question. What would you do with $1 million, Jordan?
Buy a gray car.
Buy a gray car?
Great car.
Oh, great car. Yes, of course.
Those gray cars are awesome. I want to get one of those.
Dude,
Oh, you be
$40,
quiet.
some Rust-Oleum,
All
we can
right.
get anything gray.
Second guy, Aaron, same question. What are you going to do with $1 million?
Big house.
Big house? See, I'm feeling you there. Big
With
pool.
a lot of computers.
With a lot of computers. Dan? Dan's not going to win $1 million. I'll let you guys get back to your game. We'll check the high scores later in the show. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Now we're going to kick it over to Leo, who has prepared a fine tip for us. Leo?
I am not a very good touch typist. My little pinky just gets all lost and strays, and unfortunately, every once in a while, it'll hit this caps lock key, which is so badly placed on the PC keyboard that if you hit it, everything goes caps, and all of a sudden you're typing and you're shouting, and I hate that. I want to disable this. I don't use it very often. What I'd like it to be is a shift key, maybe, or a control key. I'm going to show you how to do it. In fact, it turns out I'm not alone. Look at this website, anticapslock.com. They're fighting the good fight to get the caps lock removed from keyboards. They do have links to software that will change the caps lock's behavior on Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Let me show you on Windows. There are a couple of ways to do it. You could do it with a RegHack, and I've got a link in our article to some places where you can download those RegHacks. But believe it or not, Microsoft gives you a tool. It was designed for Windows 95. It's part of the Windows 95 kernel toys set called Keyboard Remap. This is actually a very useful tool. I don't know why they don't release it for other versions of Windows. It works just fine on every version I've tried it on. I'm using it on XP now. What happens is it adds a little tab to your keyboard properties called Remap. It allows you to specify a different behavior for any key. So, for instance, I could say when caps lock is pressed, act as if I'm pressing left control. I say OK. Excuse me, no more caps lock. If you're a Mac user, this program UControl is also free. We'll do the same thing. Turn off the caps lock key. Fight the good fight. Instructions for doing it in Linux are also available at anticapslock.com. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Leo. The shirt, the coffin.
We're about
to change it, man.
We're buying a new shirt.
We'll get one.
Stay where you are. Next caller, Danny, wants to run XP on a used laptop. We'll fill in on what you need to do that. But up next, customize your login screen to anything you want. Cool! And the Screensavers continues.
Let's check in with the fine folks over at Tech Live to see what's coming up tonight.
Gentlemen,
News anchor Chris Leary.
Yeah, that's right. It's
Chris
me.
Leary!
I'm in the house, raising the roof. Now, let me ask you this. If the phrase open wide kind of fills your heart with fear, well, we've got something for you tonight. Coming up on Tech Live. Look at that. Find out how some dentists are using treatments, well, typically reserved for the spa. Look at that. Now, isn't that something? Back when I was a kid, they give you a lollipop. Now they give you a massage or something. Oh, they're my teeth, too. They're not, but they're as cavity filled as mine. Nasty. I don't know what she's massaging there, but it doesn't look...
Enjoy a movie, bite down for a minute, and then we're on.
It's like surgery and painful orthodontics week on Tech Live.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yes, make yourself at home. Pain. Bring in the pain. But there you go. We're going to be talking about the pain and all that kind of stuff, technology stuff on Tech Live, which oddly enough, a lot of people don't know this is after the screensavers.
Right after?
Yeah.
It's like us, a commercial break, and then Tech Live.
No, there's not even a commercial break. It's like, bang, right in there. It's like,
Nice.
right in there.
Chris, I look forward to it.
Open wide. Your mouth.
That I don't look forward to.
Okay, thanks,
Tech
guys.
Live, right after the show. Chris Leary, ladies and gentlemen.
Our very next tweak is brought to you by the sweet and nurturing Sarah Lane.
Did you do something wrong?
No.
The sweet and nurturing?
I don't know. I couldn't come up with anything else.
Okay. No, fair enough. I've shown you how to customize your boot screen, hack your start button, and today in my third installment of the Windows Hack series, it's time to customize your login screen. Of course, this is the XP login screen. I'm looking at one right now. This is Kevin's computer. This is fine. It's letting you know, hey, Kevin Rose is the user. Do you want to log in? You can turn off your computer. He's chosen horses as his icon. It's
That's right.
a fine choice for a gentleman such as fine as himself. But this is kind of boring, you know. It has the big Microsoft Windows XP logo on it. You might want to personalize it a little bit. Get the Microsoft guy off your back, right? So this is how you do it. I'm just going to switch computers and show you my setup here. You want to look for a file called logonui.exe. It's in your System32 folder. Now, you can't open it up because it's one of those files like explorer.exe and the one that I used to hack the boot screen, it was NTSK. Anyway, it was in my article. You can't open it up without using a resource hacker of some kind. The one that I like, I've been using a lot lately, is ResBuilder. When you open up logonui.exe in ResBuilder and you open, like let's just expand bitmaps here. You start going, oh yeah, I'm starting to notice over on the right-hand side, if you want to go up a little bit, here's the background of my screen, and here's some elements that you see inside. Now, what you can do, I'm going to tell you the hard way first. The hard thing to do would be to go in and edit all these bitmaps individually. You absolutely can do that. You would start, of course, with bitmap 100 and change the background. That would be the first place you could start. But clearly, there's a lot to do here. If you wanted to make your own screen from scratch, there's a lot going on. I have a much, much better way to do it. Start at somewhere called ThemeXP. There are a few places online. There is actually more than a few places online, but this is one of the better ones where people post their own login screens that they've made from scratch. They're really good. This is an exceptionally good site. There's almost 3,000 logon screens to choose from. They're in lots of categories. It's really great. What I've done is downloaded one that's a favorite of mine. That is the Kill Bill login screen, because I just saw the movie and I thought it was really wonderful. It'll come to you in a zip. They're all the same way. And if you look at it, it's nice. It's like, here's the executable, which of course is going to replace my logonui.exe. But if I want to just preview it first, I'll say, well, what is it going to look like? Oh, that looks pretty cool. I love that. So here's my users. Here's my shutdown. Looks pretty good. So, and if you were to open it up in ResBuilder, you can expand the bitmaps and you see, oh yeah, here we go. Here's our elements here. So that works out very nicely. Basically, all you have to do is replace the file over the original logonui.exe in your System32 folder. Now, of course, to do that is a very familiar concept. We've talked about it before. Restart, go into safe mode with the command prompt, and copy your new file over your old. Make sure you make a backup of the original logon UI before you get started, because you don't want to mess up. You don't want to screw up your login screen. Once you've done that, restart back into your normal mode, and it will come up. I'll show you. I've already done this, actually. I'll just log off here. And it'll log me off. And then, you see, this is my new logon screen. It's logging me off here, saving my settings. And then here we are. The Petite Tipper is ready to log in. I can shut down. I can log in. I've got the Kill Bill in full effect. I'm feeling really cool and Quentin Tarantino-esque. And I'm all done. It was completely free. And I didn't really have to do any of the work myself. I just used one of someone else's work they have obviously spent a lot of time doing. And all the steps I showed you, plus my links to some of the internet's best logon screens. They're more than the Kill Bill. I have a few more extra ones. They're in my Windows Week article at thescreensavers.com. I'm done and done.
That's cool. How many total themes are there at that site? Is there a couple hundred to choose from?
At ThemeXP, there's almost 3,000.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're they're categorized: movie themes, anime, nature, pets. It's great. There's tons. I challenge someone to not see one that they like at that site. Yeah.
You have your challenge.
Coming up after the break, we'll tell Danny how he can get XP to perform sweetly on his laptop. It's all right after these messages.
Be sure to catch tomorrow's show. Yoshi joins me, co-host, and to finish off Mod Week. And we're going to meet another modder with yet another case mod. And I got the ultimate mod, my very own racing sim. Actually, Yoshi's got the ultimate mod, his very own racing sim. I'm just going to be, Yoshi, I stole it. Find the details tomorrow. Plus, we'll introduce you to gaming mice. Robert Heron benchmarked him. He's going to let you know which mice can actually impact. Some of these high-end mice, not so good for gaming.
Really?
That's the
rumor.
rumor.
You would think like the more refresh on the little LED, the better for gaming?
Just for me, he actually tested my $14.99 Microsoft IntelliMouse. We'll finally find out if the $50 mice are better than the $15.
I'm glad you brought a low-end one in there to test them a bunch so you can see how they compare.
Because we use some cheap mice.
Yeah, I was going to say, I buy the ones, $10, done deal.
Maybe that's why Brentano's so good in some games.
That could be.
He's using his special high-end gaming mouse.
That's the secret.
Find out tomorrow.
Danny joins us on the phone from Chauvin, Louisiana.
Hey, Danny.
Hey, Pat. Hey, Kevin.
Hey.
First, let me say thank you, guys. Man, when we started out about 2 years ago, we were complete newbies, and all the security patches, the hacks, the spyware stuff. My wife goes to school online on the computer, so she puts major hours online.
Right.
And you have made it almost bearable to be online.
Oh, dude.
Glad we could help.
Which brings me to why I'm calling. I am about to go to school online myself.
Mm-hmm.
And my eyesight's not quite so good, and I was looking for a laptop, preferably used, a refurb, off-lease type of thing, but I want to run XP. I don't need it to do anything but surf the web and do Word for my assignments.
Okay. The biggest issue with an older laptop, I was running for a long time a 300 megahertz Pentium 2 running Windows XP, no problem.
Right.
It helps a lot if you have 512 megabytes of RAM, 256K RAM in Windows XP. That's funny. 256 megabytes will take care of it for the memory. 512 megabytes a lot better.
Yeah. The
biggest problem, refurbished if you're buying from somebody like Dell, not a problem. Buying used notebooks, it's really easy to get skunked because you're probably not going to have a warranty. You really don't know what they did with it. You don't know how many times they dropped it down a flight of stairs. So you got to be really careful buying a used notebook. You buy it from somebody you trust or some shop that'll let you return it if you have problems with it.
Like you said, Dell, and make sure you get a warranty, or even any of the other ones like Compaq, some of the big name companies.
Right.
Make sure you get that at warranty if you can. If they offer it, you definitely want to get that. And you were running 300 megahertz. 400 or 500 megahertz. They're so cheap nowadays.
Yeah.
They're so cheap. You can, for $300, you can find 400 or 500 megahertz laptop.
Yeah, and you know what? Actually, part of what what is amazing is a lot of people, they paid like $2,000 for a notebook, and 2 years later they think it's still worth $2,000. It's not worth $300.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And it's like you can buy a brand new notebook for $1,000. It's going to be pretty serviceable.
Less than $1,000. Yeah. I've seen them, some of the Dell deals like $700-800 for a nice like 1 point something gigahertz Celeron processor that's stripped down. RAM is very important. RAM is very key. Try and get the 512 if you can. Definitely.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I could always upgrade, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But sometimes, depending on how the memory's set up, sometimes you have to throw out your old memory to put a new memory stick in. So you kind of end up paying twice for the same memory if you're not careful.
Right.
One last thing, Danny, you said you have. Did you say you have eyesight problems?
Yeah. Well, I mean, my eyesight is bad. I got diabetes and stuff.
Okay.
So, but my choices were either get a laptop so I can kind of put it close to me, or get a really light monitor, not a CRT type, a new LCD type, and just get a cheap desktop and get a little swing arm thing so that I can put the monitor close enough to see.
I think a laptop's a nice idea, Danny. I was just going to say, make sure if you have a choice between like a higher resolution screen and a lower resolution screen, go for the lower resolution screen.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to you.
Exactly.
And also, there's some settings in Windows XP that you can tweak to make all the fonts bigger. Everything will change bigger globally throughout the operating system.
Which is a good thing.
A lot of people that have vision problems tend to boost that up and turn that on.
It's a good thing. Good luck, Danny.
Now, Sarah and I, we are leaving. We're taking off tomorrow.
Right. We're keeping the gadget lovers happy because we're going to Nashville this weekend. It's time for the Digital Digs Roadshow. You can hang with Kevin and me. We're going there, and we're going to be there with some very outstanding tech goodies. I'm not even going to tell you what they are. You got to come and find out. Our roadshow hits the Cool Springs Galleria in Hex Court Galleria. Rather, I don't know what a gallerina is. In Franklin, Tennessee, this weekend. That's right outside of Nashville. It's like 15 minutes drive. May 15th and 16th. This weekend, the event runs from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday and noon to 5 on Sunday. For more info and to learn all about the other coast-to-coast stops of the roadshow, go to techtv.com/digitaldigs. If you live in Nashville, people, or even if you don't live anywhere near it, come see us. You never know when you'll be able to again. Now, Daily Wire. Next up, we'll check our inbox to see what's on your mind when the screensavers continue.
Ladies and gentlemen, technical difficulties prevent us from showing you the high scores in today's LAN party. However, TSS Jordan and TSS Aaron were out taking names and kicking you-know-what. So props to Team Deathball for taking names and kicking you-know-what. I want to thank them also for coming in to talk about Modern. If you didn't get to play this week, go to our website right now. Register for next Thursday's LAN party.
And I just want to let everybody know that's coming to meet us. I'm going to take some Patrick Norton cards. You're going to sign some cards for us. Even though you're not going to be there, we'll hand out some cards to some people. I'll get Dan and Yoshi. Dan will sign some boxers for the ladies or whatever, and we'll give those out.
Yoshi boxers, big money on eBay.
Big money on
and
Yoshi
Dan.
Dan's like, yeah. It's that time again. Sarah, do you have any emails?
Yeah, the first one comes from Steven in Muncie, Indiana. Steven doesn't even have a question. He just wants us to know. I have a compact CDS 526. It has 8 megabytes of RAM and operates at a blazing 33 megahertz. He wrote in to tell us that.
Still online, ladies and
Steven.
gentlemen. Outstanding.
Nice.
Moving on to Janice's question. She says, or she has a tip actually. She says, maybe Yoshi wasn't running HydroVision, which is a free download from ATI, because I've had no problem using ATI cards for multi-monitors, multi-mon. I'm only running 2 at the moment on an ATI VE, same as 7000, but I played around with more when I had the hardware around. Everything worked fine.
Cool. Yeah. So we misinformed.
No, actually we didn't. What Yoshi said is that the ATI cards don't behave well with other graphics cards when you're setting up multi-monitors. With ATI
to ATI,
it's
you're
not
okay.
too bad. Yeah.
Okay.
But
Cool.
yeah, ATI, no problem. ATI and like an NVIDIA or some third party, it's not likely to work.
The programmer
they don't support
the programmer that wrote that software is like, what? It works. Gave us a call and we had to give you the right information.
Okay, this is Alex doesn't seem to be a big music fan. He says, I'm dying for a really good excuse to get an iPod Mini, and the only justification I can come up with is I'd like to transfer my pictures from my digital camera directly to the Mini. Problem, I can't find anything that'll do it. The Belkin iPod accessory only works with a regular iPod.
That's right. They haven't come out with the new modified one. That's a pretty cool device. If you have a regular iPod, you just plug it in and it transfers the files. Nothing new yet, but you got to think Belkin's working on something.
We'll find out. In the meantime, buy a Mini so you can get used to it. So you'll be ready when you have your adapter. That's it for this edition of the Screensavers. I'm Patrick Norton.
And I'm Kevin Rose.